Listen to me. When God is about to bless you, you will see signs. But here's the thing. Most people miss them because they're too busy looking at the pain instead of the purpose. You've been grinding. You've been struggling. You've been waiting. And now things are getting harder. The pressure is real. The struggle feels unbearable. You feel like quitting. But let me tell you something. This is the sign. When God is about to elevate you, the enemy gets loud. Distractions start showing up left and right. People you thought were solid start acting funny. Doors you expected to open start slamming in your face. But hear me, that's not rejection. That's redirection. That's God clearing the path, making sure that when he blesses you, the wrong people aren't sitting at your table. You might be feeling alone right now, but that's because isolation comes before elevation. God will separate you so he can prepare you. When you're about to step into something great, don't expect everyone to cheer for you. Some people like you better when you were struggling because your success exposes their excuses. But you don't need their validation. Your calling comes from God, not from man. So when the storm hits, don't you dare break. Don't you dare give up. That storm is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to position you. God is setting you up for something bigger than you can imagine, but he needs to know, can you handle it? Can you stay faithful when everything around you looks like it's falling apart? Can you keep pushing when nothing makes sense? Because when the blessing comes, and trust me, it's coming, you're going to look back and realize that every tear, every sleepless night, every betrayal, every setback was necessary. It didn't break you. It built you. So hold on, stay in the fight. Your blessing is closer than you think. God didn't bring you this far to leave you. Stay faithful, stay ready. And when the time comes, step into your blessing with power. When God is about to bless you, the enemy gets louder and challenges intensify. You start feeling pressure from all sides. The very things that seem stable in your life begin to shake. People you trusted start acting differently. The situations that once brought you peace now feel chaotic. The weight of your responsibilities increases, and suddenly it feels like everything is working against you. But this is not a coincidence. This is a sign. When a breakthrough is near, opposition rises because the enemy knows that once you step into your blessing, nothing can stop you. The enemy does not attack what is not a threat. If your life was meant to be ordinary, you wouldn't be experiencing this kind of pressure. If your destiny was average, the enemy wouldn't be wasting his time trying to distract, discourage, or destroy you. The reason why the battle is so intense is because what's coming is significant. The higher the calling, the greater the attack. The bigger the blessing, the stronger the resistance. Every great move of God in someone's life is preceded by opposition. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. Look back at the moments in your life when you were about to step into something great. Right before you got that opportunity, right before the breakthrough came, what happened? Everything seemed to go wrong. Suddenly, you started doubting yourself. The very things you prayed for started looking impossible. It felt like doors were shutting in your face, like people were turning against you, like everything was moving backward instead of forward. But that wasn't the end. That was the setup. The attack was proof that something was shifting in your favor. One of the biggest tricks of the enemy is to make you believe that your struggles mean God has abandoned you. But that is a lie. God is not absent in your hardship. He is allowing the pressure to strengthen you. Gold is purified in fire. Diamonds are formed under extreme pressure. Champions are made in adversity. The blessing you are about to receive requires you to be strong enough to carry it. The trials you are facing now are developing the endurance, wisdom, and faith you will need for the next season of your life. When opposition increases, most people take it as a sign to stop. They start questioning if they are on the right path. They wonder if maybe they misheard God, if maybe they should turn back, if maybe they are not worthy of the blessing. But the very presence of opposition is confirmation that you are moving in the right direction. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you so hard if you weren't on the verge of something powerful. Think about a woman in labor. Right before she gives birth, the pain is at its highest. The contractions are unbearable. Her body is being stretched beyond what she thought it could handle. But that pain is a sign that new life is about to be born. If she were to give up in that moment, she would never see the promise that was inside of her. The same is true for you. Right before your breakthrough, the pressure will feel like too much. The weight will seem unbearable. But if you hold on, if you keep pushing, the very thing that felt like it was breaking you will end up birthing your blessing. The enemy will use anything to distract you in this season. People who once supported you may suddenly turn against you. Unexpected financial problems may arise. You may find yourself dealing with health issues, relationship struggles, or mental battles you thought you had already overcome. All of it is designed to make you lose focus, to make you question God's plan, to make you so exhausted that you walk away from what you've been working for. But you must recognize what's happening. This is not the time to break down. This is the time to press forward. History shows us that the greatest victories come after the greatest struggles. Before David became king, he was hunted down by Saul. Before Joseph became second in command of Egypt, he was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison. Before Jesus fulfilled his purpose, he was betrayed, beaten, and crucified. There is always a battle before the breakthrough. You are not the only one who has gone through this. What you are facing is not unique. It is a pattern. It is the process of promotion. The reason the enemy is attacking you so hard is because he knows that once you step into your blessing, you will be unstoppable. He is afraid of what will happen when you realize who you are. He is afraid of the impact you will make. He is afraid of the souls you will reach, the lives you will change, the generational curses you will break. So he is throwing everything he can at you: fear, doubt, insecurity, distractions, hoping that you will give up before you step into yours. But here's the truth. The enemy has no real power over you. He can try to slow you down, but he cannot stop what God has ordained. No matter how many obstacles come your way, no matter how intense the battle gets, what is meant for you will always be yours. The only way the enemy wins is if you quit. As long as you keep going, as long as you stay faithful, as long as you refuse to be moved by temporary hardships, your blessing will come to pass. It's going to get tough. There will be days when you feel like you can't take another step. There will be moments when the weight of the opposition makes you want to throw in the towel. But that is the exact moment you need to push harder, because the attack is a sign, the pressure is proof, the struggle is confirmation. God is about to do something in your life, and the enemy knows it. Stay focused, stay faithful, stay ready. There are moments in life when everything begins to feel different. The people you used to connect with don't seem to understand you anymore. The conversations you once enjoyed feel empty. The places that used to bring you comfort no longer satisfy you. This is not a coincidence. This is God pulling you away from the familiar, because he is preparing you for something greater. Before every major blessing, there is a season of separation. It is not punishment, it is preparation. It is a necessary process to elevate you to where you are meant to be. Most people resist isolation because it feels uncomfortable. Humans naturally crave connection, and when God begins to remove people from your life, it can feel lonely. You may start questioning what you did wrong. You may wonder why certain friendships, relationships, or partnerships are falling apart. But what if it's not about what you did wrong? What if it's about what God is about to do right? What if the people being removed from your life can't go where you're headed? What if their presence would hinder your blessing instead of helping it? God sees what you cannot see. There are conversations happening behind closed doors that you are unaware of. There are people smiling in your face, but secretly hoping you fail. There are relationships in your life that seem fine on the surface, but are draining your energy and distracting you from your purpose. God, in his infinite wisdom, knows who is for you and who is against you. He knows which connections will serve you and which ones will sabotage you, and when he begins to isolate you, it's because he is making room for the right people, the right opportunities, and the right season. Look at the stories of those who were destined for greatness. Every person who ever did something significant had a season of separation. Moses had to leave Egypt before he could return as a leader. Joseph had to be sold by his brothers and placed in prison before he could rise to power. David spent years in the wilderness running from Saul before he became king. Even Jesus himself had moments of isolation before stepping fully into his purpose. This pattern is not new. It is part of the process. It is how God refines, strengthens, and prepares those he is about to bless. The challenge is that isolation often feels like rejection. It can feel like abandonment. When the people you love start distancing themselves, when the phone stops ringing, when invitations stop coming, it's easy to take it personally. But what if God is protecting you? What if he is keeping you from distractions that would slow you down? What if he is giving you the quiet space you need to hear his voice more clearly? What if this is not rejection, but redirection? Too often people cling to relationships that expired long ago. They hold on to friendships that no longer serve them. They stay in environments that keep them stuck. They entertain conversations that drain their energy, and then they wonder why they feel stagnant. You cannot step into the new while clinging to the old. You cannot receive what's next while refusing to let go of what was. Growth requires release. Elevation requires separation. During isolation, God begins to show you who you truly are. Without the noise of the crowd, without the opinions of others, without the pressure of fitting in, you begin to discover your true identity. You start realizing that your worth is not determined by who accepts you, but by who created you. You begin to understand that your purpose is not tied to people's approval, but to God's assignment. This is a powerful transformation because once you see yourself the way God sees you, you become unstoppable. There is a version of you that can only be revealed in solitude. There are lessons you can only learn in the quiet. There are revelations that only come when you step away from the familiar. This is why God isolates before he elevates. He needs to remove the distractions so you can focus. He needs to strip away false attachments so you can see clearly. He needs to separate you so he can strengthen you. Think about the process of preparing a warrior for battle. Before they are sent to the front lines, they go through rigorous training. They are taken away from the comforts of everyday life. They are pushed beyond their limits. They are tested mentally, physically, and emotionally. Why? Because when the time comes for them to fight, they need to be ready. The same is true for you. God is training you for your next season. He is sharpening your mind. He is strengthening your faith. He is equipping you for the blessing he is about to release. But here's the reality. Most people don't make it through this process. They resist isolation. They run back to the familiar because it feels safer. They try to force relationships that God is trying to remove. They keep themselves busy with distractions instead of embracing the quiet. And in doing so, they delay their blessing. They prolong the process. They miss out on what God is trying to do in their lives. Do not be one of those people. Do not fight against the season of isolation. Do not mistake separation for abandonment. Do not waste time trying to hold on to what God is trying to take away. Trust that if he is removing something, it's because he is making space for something better. Trust that if he is closing a door, it's because he is opening a greater one. Trust that if he is pulling you away from certain people, it's because he is bringing the right people into your life at the right time. And two, you try and pay attention to your own life. Most people pray for blessings but resist the process that brings them. They ask for elevation but reject the separation required for it. They want God to take them to the next level but refuse to let go of what's holding them down. If you truly desire to walk in purpose, you must be willing to embrace every part of the journey, even the uncomfortable parts. You will not always understand why certain things are happening. You will not always see the full picture. You may feel confused. You may feel lonely. You may even feel like nothing is working in your favor. But do not let your feelings dictate your faith. Do not let temporary discomfort cause you to settle for less than what God has for you. Look at the caterpillar. before it becomes a butterfly. It goes into isolation, hidden away in a cocoon. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. It looks still, lifeless, stuck. But inside, transformation is taking place. The old form is breaking down, the new form is developing, and when the time is right, the butterfly emerges stronger, more beautiful, and completely transformed. The same is happening with you. This season of isolation is not the end. It is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to develop you. It is preparing you for what's next. It is strengthening your faith, sharpening your vision, and molding you into the person you need to be for the blessing that is coming. There will be moments when you want to fight against it. There will be moments when you want to go back to what feels comfortable. But comfort zones do not produce greatness. Isolation is where God does his best work. It is where he refines, prepares, and positions you for the next level. You are not being forgotten. You are being set apart. You are not being abandoned. You are being aligned. There will come a day when you look back and realize that everything you lost, everything you let go of, and everything that felt painful was actually a blessing in disguise. You will see that the isolation was necessary. The separation was intentional. The process was worth it. Stay the course, stay faithful, stay ready. There will come a time when everything you thought was certain starts to change. The doors you expected to open stay shut. The opportunities you were counting on seem to slip away. The people you relied on become distant, and the plans you made start falling apart. At first, it feels like failure. It feels like rejection. It feels like everything is working against you. But what if this is not a setback? What if this is a setup? What if the closed doors are not meant to block you, but to guide you towards something greater? One of the most frustrating things in life is putting your energy, time, and heart into something only to watch it crumble. You apply for the job, but you don't get it. You invest in a relationship, but it doesn't work out. You step out in faith, believing things will go a certain way, but instead everything seems to go wrong. The natural response is to feel discouraged. You begin questioning everything. Did I make the wrong decision? Did I mishear God? Am I not good enough? But here's the truth. Rejection is often redirection. The doors that are closing are not a sign that you are failing. They are a sign that God has something better in store. Most people assume that when something doesn't work out, it means they need to try harder, push more, or force it to happen. But some doors are meant to stay closed. Some paths are not meant for you, no matter how much you want them to be. The problem is, we often get attached to our own plans. We set expectations for how things should go. We create a vision in our minds and assume that's the only way success can look. So when things don't go according to our plan, we feel like we've lost. But what if what you call failure is actually protection? Think about the times in your life when you desperately wanted something, only to later realize that not getting it was the best thing that could have happened. That job you didn't get, maybe it would have drained you. That relationship that ended, maybe it was keeping you from the person you were truly meant to be with. That opportunity that passed you by, maybe it was too small for the big things God has in store for you. Every closed door is a decision that God made on your behalf because he sees what you cannot see. The challenge is most people take rejection personally. They allow it to break them. They let it define them. They internalize it as proof that they are not enough. But rejection is not an attack on your worth. It is not a sign that you are failing. It is God's way of protecting you for what is not meant for you. If you could see what he sees, you would be thanking him for every closed door. You would be grateful for every person who walked away. You would celebrate every opportunity that didn't work out because you would know that something greater is coming. One of the greatest examples of this is Joseph in the Bible. He had dreams of greatness, but instead of immediately stepping into his blessing, he was betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and later imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit. To the outside world, it looked like he was losing. It looked like every door was closing in his face, but every setback was actually setting him up for his destiny. If his brothers had never betrayed him, he would have never ended up in Egypt. If he had never been falsely accused, he would have never been placed in the prison where he met the person who would later recommend him to Pharaoh. And if he had never been in Pharaoh's presence, he would have never been elevated to second in command over all of Egypt. Every closed door was actually leading him to the place he was meant to be. The same is true for you. Right now, it may feel like you're being pushed backward, but you are actually being positioned for something bigger. The opportunities that passed you by were not meant to limit you. They were meant to guide you. If you can shift your perspective, you will stop seeing rejection as something that is happening to you and start seeing it as something that is happening for you. Think about how a GPS works. When you put in a destination, it calculates the best route to get you there. But sometimes along the way, there are roadblocks, accidents, or detours. The GPS doesn't get mad. It doesn't say, well, I guess we can't go anymore. It simply recalculates the route. It finds another way. The destination never changes, but the route might. That is exactly how God works. When you hit a closed door, it's not because you are off track. It's because he is redirecting you to a better way. But here's the key. You have to trust the process. Most people waste too much time crying over what didn't work out. They get stuck looking at the closed door instead of moving forward. They hold on to things that God is trying to remove. They beg for opportunities that were never meant for them. And in doing so, they delay their own progress. If you truly believe that God's plans for you are greater than your own, then you have to be willing to surrender. You have to be willing to let go of what is not meant for you so you can receive what is. This is the hardest part, letting go. Letting go of the idea that things should have worked out differently. Letting go of the disappointment, the frustration, and the pain. Letting go of the belief that if something didn't happen the way you wanted it to, it means you failed. Growth requires release. You cannot step into your next season while clinging to your last one. Sometimes the doors that close are an answer to prayers you didn't even know you prayed. You may have asked God for success, and he is keeping you from stepping into something that would have destroyed you. You may have asked for love, and he is making sure you don't settle for the wrong person. You may have asked for a breakthrough, and he is protecting you from shortcuts that would have led to disaster. Every no is making room for a greater yes. There will be times when it feels like nothing is working out. It will seem like every effort you make is met with resistance. But just because things are not happening on your timeline does not mean they are not happening. Delay is not denial. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean there isn't progress. Sometimes the things God is working on behind the scenes take time. The worst thing you can do is get impatient and try to force something that is not meant for you. When a door closes, take it as a sign that something better is ahead. Do not waste your energy fighting to keep something that God is trying to remove. Do not beg for something that is beneath you. Do not settle for what is convenient when God is trying to give you something extraordinary. There is a reason for every redirection, even if you do not see it yet. Every setback is a setup. Every disappointment is a divine redirection. Every time something doesn't go as planned, it is because God has a greater plan. You may not understand it now, but one day you will look back and realize that every closed door was actually guiding you exactly where you needed to be. The path to your purpose is never a straight line. It's full of detours, bumps, and obstacles that may make you question if you're on the right track. But the greatest challenges you face in life are often designed to test your focus and your commitment to your purpose. You will encounter distractions, some subtle, some overwhelming, that will attempt to derail you from what you're meant to do. These distractions will come in many forms. They might be people, situations, or even internal struggles that cause you to question your worth or your direction. The key is not to allow them to take your focus off the bigger picture. We all experience moments where we feel like everything is moving in the wrong direction. You set your goals, you've mapped out your plans, and you've put in the work. But then, out of nowhere, a distraction comes your way. It might be someone telling you that you can't do it, or a situation that seems to pull you further away from your dream. Maybe it's the temptation to settle for less because it seems easier. Maybe it's the negative thoughts that creep in, telling you that you're not good enough or that it's too late. These distractions are not just random, they are intentional. They are meant to make you lose sight of your purpose, to make you take your focus off your goal. One of the hardest things about chasing your dreams is learning how to say no to things that are not aligned with your purpose. There will be moments when you have to make tough choices. You will have to decide whether to stay in a relationship, a job, or a situation that is holding you back from your true calling. You will have to recognize that just because something is available or seems appealing doesn't mean it's meant for you. Distractions often come dressed up as opportunities. They might look like the right thing at first, but if they don't move you toward your purpose, they are simply delays. You must train yourself to say no to distractions, even when they seem like they could bring short-term gain. This is where discipline and vision come into play. When you know where you're going, you become less likely to be sidetracked by things that don't align with your goals. But the only way you'll know if something is a distraction is if you have a clear vision of your purpose. If you don't have a vision, everything will seem like an opportunity, and you'll find yourself pulled in a million directions. But if you have a clear sense of where you're going and what you're called to do, you'll be able to discern what to say yes to and what to say no to. Distractions are not always external. They can also come from within. Self-doubt, fear of failure, and insecurity can paralyze you. When you doubt your abilities, you become distracted by the negative thoughts that prevent you from taking action. Fear will try to convince you that you're not capable, that you don't have what it takes, that the road is too hard, and that the risks aren't worth it. But these are all distractions designed to keep you from reaching your full potential. They are the enemy of progress. The truth is, self-doubt is just a form of distraction that you must learn to ignore. It's a lie that your mind tells you to stop you from moving forward. The reality is that you are more than capable of accomplishing your goals. You've already proven that by getting this far. Every time you step into the unknown, every time you push through the fear, you prove that you are stronger than the distractions. But to keep going, you must be able to silence the voice of doubt. This is where your faith comes in. You must believe that God has equipped you with everything you need to succeed. You must trust that He has a plan for your life, even if it doesn't always make sense in the moment. The other kind of distraction comes from people. It's natural to seek approval from others, to want to fit in, and to have people around you who support and validate your journey. But not everyone around you is going to understand your vision. Not everyone will see the value in your dreams, and not everyone will encourage you along the way. Some people may even try to talk you out of it because they don't want you to succeed. They may project their own fears onto you. They may question your choices or try to convince you that it's too risky. These people are distractions because they don't share the same vision or purpose. Their doubt can easily infect you if you let it. You must learn to surround yourself with people who encourage you, challenge you, and believe in your potential. But you also have to recognize that not everyone needs to understand your journey. You don't need validation from everyone, and you don't need to explain yourself to people who aren't aligned with your purpose. If they can't see your vision, that's okay. It doesn't change your direction. Sometimes the people closest to you may unintentionally distract you with their well-meaning advice or concern. They may not understand why you're working so hard, why you're so focused, or why you're taking certain risks. But you have to stay grounded in your purpose and recognize that their doubts are just distractions. The most powerful distractions, however, are the ones that come when things start to go right. When you begin to see success, when the doors start to open, when the momentum builds, it can be easy to get distracted by the external rewards. It's easy to get caught up in the praise, the accolades, or the attention. You might start enjoying the spotlight, and in doing so, you lose focus on why you started in the first place. Fear. Success is amazing, but it can also be a distraction if you allow it to take your eyes off the prize. The goal is not the applause, it's the purpose. When things start going well, you have to stay humble and focused. Don't let success cause you to lose sight of the bigger picture. The distractions are the things that pull you away from the mission, that cause you to lose your sense of why you started in the first place. When you know your purpose, success doesn't define you, it reinforces your purpose. You understand that the work isn't done just because you've had some success. You understand that each success is only a stepping stone to the next level. Distractions don't always look like obvious obstacles. Sometimes they come disguised as comfort, complacency, or convenience. They can appear in the form of a job that pays well but doesn't align with your passion, or a relationship that feels safe but holds you back from your true potential. Sometimes distractions come as opportunities that are easier than the ones you've been working for. They might seem like good options, but they don't serve your greater purpose. These distractions can be the hardest to recognize because they don't seem like distractions at all. But anything that takes you away from your calling is a distraction. If you want to reach your full potential, you have to develop a laser sharp focus. You need to be clear on what you want and why you want it. Your vision must be so strong that no matter how many distractions come your way, you stay on course. The more you grow, the more distractions you will face. The more successful you become, the more people and situations will try to pull you off track. But if you have the discipline to stay focused, if you have the strength to say no to things that don't align with your purpose, you will continue to move forward. The journey won't always be easy. There will be moments when the distractions feel overwhelming. But remember this, the greater the distractions, the greater the purpose. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and keep your eyes on the prize. Your purpose is too important to be distracted from. There will be moments in your journey where everything around you seems to go silent. It's in these moments that you begin to feel the weight of isolation, the tension of waiting, and the pressure of uncertainty. It can feel like nothing is happening, like all your efforts are being ignored, and you're stuck in the same place. You begin to wonder, why isn't anything moving? What am I doing wrong? But what if I told you that silence doesn't mean nothing is happening? What if I told you that in those moments of waiting, God is actually preparing you for something bigger than you can imagine? When you feel like you're stuck in a holding pattern, it's easy to believe that you've been forgotten. You look around and see other people moving forward, achieving their goals, making progress, and you can't help but compare your situation to theirs. It feels like everyone else is getting what they want while you're still waiting for your breakthrough. This can create frustration and doubt, and you start questioning if you're doing the right thing. But remember, just because it looks like nothing is happening doesn't mean that God isn't working. In fact, the silence is often the most important part of the process. Think about a seed planted in the ground. Before it sprouts, there is a period of stillness. Nothing seems to be happening. The seed is buried, hidden, and it might look like it's doing nothing at all, but beneath the surface, it is growing, taking root, and being prepared to break through the ground. The silence is not a sign that the seed is not working. It's part of the process. The seed is preparing for what's to come. Likewise, when you feel like nothing is happening, understand that God is working beneath the surface, preparing you for your moment to break through. In these moments of waiting, it's important to resist the temptation to give up or rush the process. Our culture values quick results, fast success, and immediate gratification. We live in an age where everything happens instantly. Food is delivered in minutes, messages are sent in seconds, and information is at our fingertips. But growth doesn't happen in an instant. Real transformation, real progress, and real success take time. You can't rush what God is doing in you. The delay is not a denial, it's a divine preparation. You might not see the fruits of your labor yet, but trust that God is working on you in ways you cannot comprehend. One of the hardest things about waiting is not knowing how long it will take. We live in a world where time is a precious commodity and waiting can feel like wasted time. But when you trust in God's timing, you understand that the process is just as important as the result. You are being shaped, molded, and prepared for what's coming next. The silence forces you to become stronger, to build patience, and to grow in your faith. It tests your perseverance and teaches you to rely on God instead of yourself. This is the refining process, the quiet moments where God is preparing you for the opportunities that will come. Think about the way an athlete trains for a big competition. Their training is often grueling and repetitive. There are long hours spent in the gym, countless practices, and intense conditioning. From the outside, it may look like they're doing the same thing over and over again with little progress. But every repetition, every hour of sweat, every moment of discipline is preparing them for the big event. They may not see immediate results, but they are being conditioned for success. The same is true for you. The silent periods are when you are being prepared for the next level. You may not see the immediate breakthrough, but every day you are growing stronger, more resilient, and more equipped for what's ahead. There's also a spiritual aspect to waiting. Waiting is a time for you to build your relationship with God, to trust Him more deeply, and to learn how to rely on His guidance. In the silence, you are learning to hear His voice more clearly. You are developing a deeper sense of patience and faith. When you are forced to wait, you are forced to trust not just in your own abilities, but in God's plan for you. It's in the quiet moments that your character is shaped. God is refining you, teaching you humility, resilience, and patience. He is working on your heart and your spirit, preparing you to handle the blessing that's coming your way. One of the most important things to remember in the silence is that you are never alone. Just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean God has abandoned you. It may feel like you're walking through a season of isolation, but the truth is, God is closest to you in these moments. He's not distant. He's doing His deepest work in you. Think about how the disciples felt when Jesus was silent after His crucifixion. They were confused, afraid, and didn't understand why things had to happen the way they did. But in that moment of silence, God was preparing for the resurrection. He was preparing something greater than anyone could have imagined. Your waiting period may feel long and it may feel uncomfortable, but understand that it is necessary. God is positioning you for greatness, and you need to be ready. The silence isn't punishment, it's preparation. He's getting you ready for the next phase of your life, the next level of your purpose, the next season of blessing. If you look at the lives of those who experience great breakthroughs, you'll see that most of them had to endure a season of waiting. Moses spent 40 years in the desert before God called him to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. David was anointed as king, but had to wait years before he actually stepped into the role. Joseph had to spend time in prison before he rose to power in Egypt. Each of them faced a period of silence where it seemed like nothing was happening. But in that silence, God was preparing them for the greatness that was ahead. The most important thing you can do in the waiting is to stay faithful. Keep doing the work. Keep praying. Keep believing. Even when you don't see the results, stay consistent. The silence may feel unbearable, but it is in those moments that your faith is being strengthened. You are building the endurance you will need for the journey ahead. The quiet is where you develop the strength and resilience to carry the weight of your blessing. As you continue to wait, remember that God's timing is always perfect. Just because it seems like nothing is happening now doesn't mean it won't happen in the future. He is orchestrating everything behind the scenes. There are things you cannot see, things He is working out for you. Trust that when the time is right, He will make a way. The silence is not an indication of delay. It's an invitation to grow, to trust, and to prepare for what's to come. It's in the waiting that your character is developed, your faith is deepened, and your vision becomes clearer. The time you spend in the silence is not wasted. It is an essential part of the process. Stay faithful, stay patient, and keep your trust in God. He is working in ways you cannot see. And when the moment arrives, you will be ready to walk into the blessing He has prepared for you. There are times in life when you feel as though you've hit a wall. You've given everything you've got. You've poured your heart into your dreams, and you've worked tirelessly toward your goals. Yet, despite all your efforts, It feels like nothing is moving, like no matter how hard you try, progress remains just out of reach. You feel like you're stuck in place, watching others pass you by, and you begin to wonder if all your hard work was for nothing. You start asking yourself, why isn't anything changing? Why does it feel like nothing is working? But what if I told you that the moments when you feel stuck are often the most crucial times in your journey? The truth is, there are seasons in life where things appear to slow down. It seems like no matter what you do, you can't make the breakthrough you've been praying for. The business you've been building doesn't take off. The relationships you're invested in don't seem to be progressing, and the dreams you've been chasing feel more like distant fantasies. When you're in these seasons, it's easy to assume that you're not good enough, that your effort is not paying off, or that you're on the wrong path. But what if all of this is part of the process? What if this time of waiting, this feeling of being stuck, is exactly what you need to propel you to the next level? One of the hardest lessons to learn is that growth doesn't always look like progress. We tend to equate growth with forward momentum. We think that if we're growing, we should see immediate results, tangible signs that everything is moving in the right direction. But growth is not always visible to the eye in real time. Sometimes growth is happening in ways that you can't see. Just because you can't observe change on the surface doesn't mean that things aren't shifting beneath the surface. Just because it feels like you're stuck doesn't mean you're not growing. Think about how a tree grows. For years, it's rooted in the soil, growing deep and establishing its foundation. The roots are expanding, taking hold of the earth and supporting the tree's future growth. But on the surface, it looks like nothing is happening. There are no visible changes. The tree isn't getting any taller, and it seems like nothing is growing. But deep beneath the surface, the roots are strengthening. And one day, after months or even years, the tree begins to sprout, and you can see the growth. That's how growth works. Often it happens quietly beneath the surface where no one can see it. But in due time, the results become visible to everyone. Your journey is similar. Just because you're not seeing the immediate results doesn't mean you're not making progress. The growth may be happening internally. You are becoming stronger, wiser, and more resilient in ways that you can't yet see. Your character is being refined. Your faith is being stretched. You are being prepared for the next level. But in order for this to happen, you must remain committed. You must stay planted even when you can't see the fruits of your labor. You must trust the process, knowing that the time spent in the waiting, in the seemingly stagnant moments, is not wasted. Another crucial part of this process is learning to embrace the uncomfortable. Growth is not easy. If it were, everyone would be successful. If growth didn't require sacrifice, everyone would have what they wanted. But growth is challenging. It's uncomfortable. It pushes you out of your comfort zone and forces you to confront things you would rather avoid. It requires discipline, consistency, and often a willingness to endure hardship. The discomfort is part of the process. Without the pressure, you would never know what you're truly capable of. It's when things get tough that your character is revealed, and it's in those tough moments that you are prepared for the breakthrough that's coming. You see, if everything were easy, you wouldn't appreciate the victory. If everything came to you effortlessly, you would never understand the value of what you've achieved. It's the struggle that makes the success so sweet. It's the late nights, the sacrifices, the disappointments, and the perseverance that make the moments of triumph meaningful. Without the struggle, the success would have no significance. Without the pain, the victory would feel empty. You need the struggle in order to appreciate the success. But during these times when it feels like you're stuck, it's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to want to give up. You may even feel like you're fighting a battle you can't win, like every step you take is met with resistance. But what you must remember is that every challenge you face is preparing you for something bigger. The obstacles are not there to destroy you. They are there to strengthen you. Every setback, every failure, every disappointment is a lesson. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to get better. It's like the process of forging metal. The heat and pressure are necessary to create something strong. Without the fire, the metal would remain soft and weak. So in those moments when it feels like you're stuck, when nothing seems to be moving forward, don't give up. Keep pushing, keep working, keep trusting the process. Even though you may not see the immediate results, know that you are being shaped. Know that the work you are putting in is not in vain. God is using every moment to prepare you for the next step. He is refining you, molding you, and making you into the person you need to be in order to handle the blessings He has in store for you. It's easy to give up when things aren't going your way. It's easy to let frustration and doubt take over when progress seems slow. But you have to choose to keep moving forward even when it's hard. You have to choose to believe that your efforts matter even when you can't see the results. You have to choose to trust that God is working behind the scenes even when you can't see Him. Sometimes the breakthrough you've been waiting for doesn't come immediately. Sometimes it takes longer than you expect. Sometimes it feels like it's never going to happen. But I promise you, if you keep pressing on, if you keep staying faithful, if you keep trusting in the process, you will look back one day and realize that the struggle, the wait, and the discomfort were all worth it. The next time you feel stuck, remember that growth is happening. Remember that the challenges you face are preparing you for something greater. Remember that your efforts are not in vain. Keep your eyes on the bigger picture and trust that in time, everything will fall into place. You are not stuck. You are being prepared. The breakthrough is coming.